Welcome to episode 3 of our Powerhouse Conversations. Today's topic is really juicy, I think, and it's all about AI, casting, and the future of acting. What actually changes and what doesn't change. Um, this is, I want to start by saying this. There is so much fear-based content about this right now. A lot of it is super vague. A lot of it's very extreme. And I think a lot of it is designed to scare us and not to actually help us understand what's happening. So, of course, I'm just another person throwing my opinion into the mix. But my intention today is not to try to predict the future. It's not to hype you up or clickbait or whatever. It's to really slow this conversation down and talk about what is actually changing and what very much isn't changing, just because it's common sense. And so if you've been feeling this quiet panic of, I'm already struggling as an actor and now I have to contend with this conversation is for you. And I want to tell you that you're not wrong for feeling that way, but I think that we might be asking ourselves the wrong questions here. And so I just want to dive really clearly into this. So first, I want to just say the honest thing out loud, because avoiding it doesn't help anyone. And that is that, yes, AI will, of course, reduce some categories of work. In particular, it's going to reduce low distinction work, interchangeable work where speed and volume matter more than meaning, matter more than authenticity, matter more than humanity. And pretending otherwise is just delusional, right? It's just, that would be insulting your intelligence here. So, what jobs are actually at risk here? This is where we need precision and realism and not panic. AI is pretty good at generic commercial reads, right? AI is pretty good at simple utility narration, background or filler voice work, content that doesn't require a specific human point of view. Sure, a robot can do that. If the job doesn't require specificity, AI can do it really well. If the job doesn't require a point of view, then AI is extremely capable. But here's the part that gets missed when we think about all of this. If you think about what a content creator is looking for, someone who's creating something, they're not hiring some generic voice, they're hiring meaning. Audiences don't connect to performances in a vacuum. They connect to context and specificity and humanity. When I see an AI generated commercial on my Instagram feed, I'm a little bit turned off, not just because I'm an actor, but because I don't connect to that thing. And sure, AI will get better and better and better. Yes, of course. But AI will never replace the emotional risk that a human can take. It doesn't replace lived experience. It doesn't replace cultural fluency. It doesn't replace trust. So the grown-up truth here is that, yes, there may be fewer undifferentiated jobs, but that doesn't mean there's no future for you as an actor. That means that your clarity about where you fit and who you are becomes even more valuable. Your willingness to be fully you and fully authentic becomes even more important. When the middle gets automated, the edges become more expensive. So what I mean by that is that the actors who are clearly understood, who have a strong point of view, who have a clear presence, who have a legible type, become easier to defend easier to justify, easier to hire. It's really clear that we need those actors. So if you are mispositioned right now, that becomes extremely problematic because AI doesn't eliminate actors, it eliminates ambiguity. One thing it does is speed up the rate at which all of these things happen, right? And when systems speed up, vague actors get filtered out faster, and actors who are clearer get brought to the top more easily. So that's why this moment can feel scarier than it actually needs to be, because the industry has been filtering this way. AI just makes the sorting more efficient, and so it becomes like, whoa, what is happening here? And this is also why some of the advice that we as actors have been following for years just stops working here. Just work harder is not going to do it. Just take another class, not necessarily. Just submit more. None of that fixes confusion. If the industry doesn't know where to place you, more effort does not help. If you haven't formed the right relationships, more effort doesn't help. So I also want to name something emotional here. And that is that it's okay to grieve the version of the industry where more people could get by doing really broad, interchangeable work. That grief is real. And pretending we shouldn't feel it just makes us feel shut down. But a grief about that time doesn't mean the future is closed. It doesn't mean that we have no path forward. It just means that the rules are a little bit different, but they're also clearer. So, what hasn't changed and what will not change, I believe, is this. There is a way to really make sure that your collaborators in the industry trust you. Familiarity is still really important. Specificity is still really important. Narrative clarity is still really important. Understanding where you slot in is still really important. Understanding what you do best is really important. So the work now isn't to overhaul everything. It's not about like quitting and finding something else to do. We need actors. It's to ask better questions. How am I currently being read? Where might confusion exist there? What signal am I actually sending? Diagnosis before action, clarity before effort. It's hugely important now. So I want to end by just saying that the future of acting is not about competing with machines. It's about becoming more human. It's about being more specific, more legible. The actors who are going to survive this shift into the new version of this industry aren't the busiest, aren't the loudest. They're the ones who the industry understands. The ones who can really step out and emphasize their unique humanity. There are things that you can do that literally no one else can do. And that takes the conversation from hopeless to very workable. So if this conversation helped you see exactly why clarity matters so much more than hustle right now, and you want support, learning how to position yourself in a way that the industry can actually read, I'm going to throw a few resources in the description on the YouTube video. These are designed for actors who don't want hype or false promises. They just want real understanding and practical guidance. So take a look if it feels supportive. And if not, let this conversation be enough for today. Thanks so much for joining me. Be sure to leave a comment. I read all of them. And I'll see you soon.